Hey there, and welcome back to the Knowledge Radio. Today, we're going to journey back in time to one of the most fascinating civilizations in human history, ancient Egypt. When most people think of ancient Egypt, their minds instantly go to the towering pyramids and the mysterious Sphinx. But there's so much more to this ancient culture than just those famous monuments. In this video, we're going to look beyond the pyramids and uncover the rich history, science, and everyday life of the Egyptians. You'll be amazed at how advanced they were and how much their legacy continues to shape our world today. The Nile, lifeblood of Egypt. Let's start with something that was absolutely vital to ancient Egypt, the Nile River. Without the Nile, there would be no ancient Egypt. The river provided water for drinking, farming, and transportation. It flooded every year, leaving behind rich, fertile soil that allowed the Egyptians to grow crops like wheat and barley. In fact, the Egyptians called their land Kemet, meaning the Black Land, because of the dark, rich soil left by the Nile's floods. The river wasn't just important for survival, it was central to their religion, culture, and even their calendar. Ancient Egyptian science and medicine. One thing that's often overlooked about ancient Egypt is how advanced their knowledge of science and medicine was. They were skilled engineers, mathematicians, and astronomers. In fact, their understanding of the stars helped them align the pyramids perfectly with the cardinal points, north, south, east, and west. And get this, they even developed one of the first calendars based on the cycles of the moon and the stars. When it came to medicine, the Egyptians were pioneers. They practiced surgery, used herbs to treat illnesses, and understood how to set broken bones. They even wrote medical texts on papyrus, giving instructions on how to treat wounds and diseases. Many of their methods were passed down and influenced medical practices in the centuries that followed. Art and architecture, more than just monuments. The pyramids might be the most famous Egyptian structures, but their architecture and art go way beyond that. Temples, obelisks, and statues dedicated to their gods and pharaohs are scattered all over Egypt. These buildings weren't just made to look impressive. They were designed to honor the gods and ensure the pharaoh's place in the afterlife. Egyptian art was also full of symbolism. You'll notice that their statues, paintings, and carvings often show figures in very specific, almost stiff-looking poses. This wasn't because they didn't know how to make art look realistic. It was because they believed these poses had spiritual meaning. Every gesture, every color, every symbol in Egyptian art had a purpose. The Egyptians and the afterlife. We can't talk about ancient Egypt without discussing their obsession with the afterlife. The Egyptians believed that life didn't end with death. It was just the beginning of another journey. This belief is why they spent so much time and effort building elaborate tombs and developing the process of mummification. Mummification was about more than just preserving the body. Egyptians believed that in order for the soul to live on in the afterlife, the body had to remain intact. That's why they developed such detailed embalming practices, which included removing the internal organs, drying the body with natron, a type of salt, and wrapping it in linen. But the afterlife wasn't just reserved for pharaohs. Over time, everyday Egyptians also started preparing for their journey to the next world by being buried with amulets, food, and even tools they might need. Everyday life in ancient Egypt. While the pharaohs and monuments often take center stage, life in ancient Egypt was largely about agriculture and community. Most Egyptians were farmers, growing crops along the banks of the Nile. They lived in simple homes made of mud brick, and their diet was mainly bread, beer, and vegetables. Meat and fish were treats that people ate during special occasions. Family and religion were at the core of Egyptian society. People worshipped many gods, and temples were the centers of religious and social life. Each god had a different role, and Egyptians believed that by keeping the gods happy, they would ensure a good harvest, good health, and protection from harm. The legacy of ancient Egypt. So what's the legacy of ancient Egypt? It's everywhere. From the math we use to build our cities, to the medical practices that laid the foundation for modern healthcare, the Egyptians left an incredible mark on human history. Even today, we're still discovering new things about this ancient civilization, from hidden tombs to lost texts. Egypt's history has been passed down through art, literature, and architecture, and it continues to inspire scientists, historians, and dreamers alike. So the next time you think of ancient Egypt, remember, It's not just about pyramids and pharaohs. It's about a civilization that thrived for thousands of years, one that was rich in culture, science, and innovation. The more we learn about ancient Egypt, the more we understand about ourselves and our shared human history. Thank you for joining me here at The Knowledge Radio. If you found this video fascinating, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with anyone else who's curious about the wonders of history. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep discovering the secrets of the past.